I give you notice that within 2 minutes the speeches will start. Please resume your seats. Thank you. Hoppers, stand up and ready to
Wait for it, wait for it, wait for it. Come on, Will. Who's Will? Beer bottles around. Please pop my beer.
Granddad, did you shake that bird? I'll give you a joke.
Get on with it.
Can I have some quiet, please? Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the father of the bride, Mr. Julian Leslie Stone. Thank you, Stephen. Manny. Well, good evening, everyone. Good evening. Thank you very much. Audience participation will be greatly received, including as a police officer, I do believe in question and answers, so I will start with a question. Is everyone having a good time? Excellent. Well, I'm going to put pay to that because I'm going to talk to about 3/4 of an hour, so you'll be all asleep.
Nobody listens.
Actually, one of the advantages of being the bride's father is that you do get to speak first. I suppose, pardon? I suppose put another way, you could say I'm the warm-up artist for the groom and the best man. So Ian, Steve, I apologise now if they all fall asleep, there's going to be your problems to deal with. It's quite daunting actually when you become a bride's father, when you think about the duties that you have to perform on your daughter's wedding day. But actually I have to be honest, I've been quite relaxed about this time. And you may ask why. Well, I'm quite happy to tell you. The reason why is my darling wife Nicola. She's so organised, she's actually organised everything. A car to get us from the church to here this afternoon, Nikki organised it. My suit from the hire company, Nikki organised it. And even my speech, she's done it. So, Nikki, can I have my speech now, please? Sorry? But you've organised everything, darling. Well, luckily I made a few notes earlier anyway, so I'll have to revert to those. I'm sorry. Where was I? Oh yeah, so organised. I guess really I ought to start with an apology, and that's an apology to about half of you here today. And the apology is this: I'm sorry that this is the second time in just over 2 years that you've had to sit there and listen to me do the father of the bride there. Having said that, there is some good news, and that is that after this evening, there's only one more to go. No pressure, no. On behalf of Nikki and myself, I would like to extend a really warm welcome to Chris and Mel, Ian's parents, their family and friends, and indeed all our family and friends to this celebration of Hannah and Ian's really great day. And you really are all very welcome, and I hope, like me, you're enjoying every minute of it. Weddings, I guess, are really an excuse for just a really big party, and I'm sure that today and certainly tonight will be no exception. There's a lot of people here today, as you can all see. We've got grandparents, parents, aunts, uncles, cousins, and friends. There's even a few people I recognise. But let's have a party, and again, thank you all very much for taking the trouble to come today. I think it's something Hannah ate earlier on. Yeah, okay, Carol. Wedding days are certainly meant to be unforgettable. And I'm very confident that today and this evening will be one of those unforgettable days. I, for one, certainly won't forget that heartwarming moment to see two super people like Ian and Hannah make their vows together in the church earlier this afternoon. And I also won't forget how proud it is for me to stand here today as the bride's father. And what a pleasure it is seeing them now enjoying themselves and sharing their happiness with us all this evening. Do you know, when I first thought about organising all of this, I was quite worried. You've got to get it right, haven't you? And well, actually, I've got to be honest, I found it quite easy, because all you do is you just sit back and it all happens around you. Admittedly, you do have to answer a few questions. You even have to ask a few questions, like, how much? And of course, you have to make the odd suggestion, like, well, we could have the village hall for about 50 quid. But then all I get is one of those looks, which, Ian, I'm sure you're already aware of. In all seriousness, now, this wedding has taken a lot of time and patience to organise, and well, decisions have at times been difficult. I mean, for instance, look at your name places. Decisions like, should we decorate them with white or pink flowers? You'll see that if you actually take a close look, it's a compromise, they're a mixture of both. But I'm really delighted that at the end of the day, I think it's turned out really well. And I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Mel and Chris for their contribution in helping this be such a great day. I'd also at this time like to acknowledge Nikki, my darling wife, who together with Hannah has spent an awful lot of time in organising this day, and it really would be right in saying that it really was a year in the making. Unlike this speech, which I wrote in the horse and cart en route to church. Okay, I have got to be serious for a moment. I feel that I really should mention the last 2 weeks, which really have been quite difficult for us all. Some of you may have heard, but for those that haven't, I'm happy to tell you about it now. A couple of weeks ago, Nikki was out shopping when her credit card was stolen. Still, there is some good news. Whoever stole it is certainly spending an awful lot less than Nikki would have been if she I can't begin to tell you how delighted I am to see Hannah looking so radiant at the beginning of this new chapter in her life. Hannah's had many roles in life. No, you're all wrong. daughter, friend, pupil, student nurse, staff nurse, fiance. But I have to say, I don't think she's ever looked so beautiful as she does today as a bride. And I know I speak for Nikki and myself when I say we're not actually losing Hannah today, we're just merely entrusting her to Ian. It's actually normal at this time to say a few thank yous, and I certainly don't want to miss out on that. So I'd like to take this opportunity to thank all of Hannah's friends, many of whom are here today. Hannah's friends really have been true to her, right up to this very moment. If I can just explain, despite numerous attempts by me to bribe them and to blackmail them, not one of them has come up with any information that has helped me in preparing this speech. So I thank you all very much. I can only assume that she's lived an incredibly good life, or she's been incredibly clever. I'll let you make your mind up as to which it is. Hannah's always been a very popular girl, and the mere fact that there are so many people here this evening, I think, is very evident of that fact. I'm particularly pleased to see Kate here as one of Hannah's bridesmaids. You see, Kate really is a lifelong friend to Hannah. And in fact, I think it would be probably true for me to say, and this may take some explaining, but Kate and Hannah probably knew each other before they were even born. Because I'm sure Bev's over there, Kate's mum, would concur that Hannah and Kate probably knew each other before they were born, because Nikki and Kate used to spend many a happy day together whilst they were waiting for them to be born.
Do you need a microphone?
No, certainly not.
Yeah.
Is that any better? Could we switch the heating off then, please? All right. Very trying. Yeah, very trying. I've lost my place now, Wendy. Goodness me. Shouldn't you be in the kitchen?
John!
Anyway, thank you. Thanks, Barbara. I'll pay you later. Anyway, as well as being very popular, it would be fair to say that Hannah's also very determined, and is certainly a person that would fight for what she believes to be right. I mean, I have to say so much so that I've had my orders as to what I can actually say and what I can't say this evening. So needless to say, there will be no sordid stories about the hen night in Brighton. Or indeed, there'll be no mention of the stag night in Wimborne and its connections with Harry Potter.
Ho, ho, ho.
And sadly, I can't tell you the story about when she was 6 years old and been sent to bed for being cheeky. Anyway, as she went up the stairs, as I said, she's very determined. She got to the top of the stairs, turned around and said to Nikki and I, "You won't rule my life, you know." Well, all I can say, my love, is I hope we haven't ruled your life. Guided, persuaded a few times. You haven't turned out that bad. While preparing this speech, I have to be honest, Nikki and I got a little sentimental, and we decided to go through a few photograph albums. And I have to admit that the tears welled up as we turned the pages looking at the photographs. And there was one particular photograph that stood out from all others. It was a striking picture of our precious daughter lying on the mat in front of the fire, dribbling and pointing at the camera. What a treasure she looked as she tried to stand. We'll certainly never forget her 21st birthday. Give us a kiss.
That's probably true. I don't remember.
Hannah, as I'm sure most of you know, is a nurse, and I have to say I'm incredibly proud of how well she's doing in this difficult and indeed demanding career. Hannah's priority list in life is about as selfless as it gets. First is family and friends. Second, it's her job. and finally it's herself. And if you're lucky enough to call her family or friend, you are truly fortunate. I have to say she's a rock, and I actually admire her as much as I love her. We can all see for ourselves how stunning Hannah looks today, and like her sisters, she gets her looks from her mum.
Great.
And this proves one thing that I've always thought about Ian, and that is that he's a man of vision. Before I talk about this man of vision though, there was something that was brought to my attention this morning that I think I should bring to Ian's attention this evening. They do say that daughters turn out to be like their mothers. So a little photograph here that I'd like Ian to have a look at. I have to say I've been rather naughty. I probably should have shown him this before he took his vows. Sadly, you can't all see that, but you can bribe Ian later. But as I say, Ian is definitely a man of vision. Admittedly, occasionally it's blurred, sometimes it's even double. But certainly, he's a man of vision who's been lucky enough to have found my daughter. Talking of Ian, I think it's only right that I should focus on him for a little while. I mean, after all, he's married now, so this is probably the last chance he'll get to be the centre of attention. Thanks, Wend. I know that I speak for his parents, and indeed Nikki and I, when I say that we're actually all very proud of him. I have to admit, I don't know him nearly as well as I know Hannah, but I do consider myself to be a keen observer of the human condition. And he strikes me as being mature-minded and capable. He's also helpful and very caring. And as a bonus, of course, he comes from a loving family. Marriage is a balancing of attributes, and from what I've seen, the balance between Hannah and Ian is very sound. Ian, Nikki and I take great pleasure in formally welcoming you into the family. I say formally because Ian, to be quite honest, has already made himself well at home with us, and to all intents and purposes has long been in the family. But if I could just court with danger for a moment, I may even say, Ian, now that you're married, you're well and truly in it. Some people on first meeting Ian may actually say that they consider him to be quite quiet in nature. I'd have to actually disagree with them on that. And what probably a lot of you don't know, because he does have a few secrets, but I've managed to get in and actually find out what those secrets are, is that Ian actually is quite an accomplished singer. Who actually quite regularly performs in public. I can give you examples, for instance. On his stag night, and I know I said I wasn't going to mention it, but I have to use this as evidence to show that what I'm saying is correct. On his stag night, he sang a solo in a crowded pub in Wimborne. Not only did he sing a solo, but he dedicated it to me. Well, we can only hope that perhaps he does it again tonight. I'm sure you'll be all keen to listen.
Maybe.
Luckily, I've forgotten most of the words. I would also at this point like to thank him, though, in all seriousness, for all his help. In particular, he's helped me in allowing me to use his workshop for my pursuits in woodwork. Whilst I'm mentioning woodwork, there are little favours for the ladies on the table with potpourri in them. They're presents for you. Please take them home. Don't leave them. Thank you. Anyway, mentioning this... I haven't sat down yet. Still here. Have I been too long yet, dear? Yeah. Just like to mention, say Ian is incredibly helpful. There was one particular day in the workshop, for instance, when he was at hand. It was when I received a new woodworking saw. Big machine, got delivered in a huge lorry. The driver delivered it into the workshop on a forklift truck. It was great. And there it stood in the middle of the workshop, all crated up. Ian took the morning off work to help me, and we eagerly unpacked it. And after a moment's thought, decided where was the best place to locate it. I'm looking at you now, John. Anyway, we worked out where it had to go, which meant moving it about 3 feet. Now, as I said, it was a heavy machine, probably weighed in over a tonne. So I said to Ian, I'm not sure if the two of us can do this. Yes, he said, we'll do this. So me being the fool that I am, I agreed, and we stood each side of this machine, and on the count of 3, we both lifted. Nothing happened. Now this even surprised me. I knew it was going to be heavy, but this was ridiculous. So we tried again. Nothing happened. And after about 5 attempts, we gave up, went and sat on the bench and looked at it. Now, to be perfectly fair, I have to say I can't remember who noticed it first, but anyway, one of us noticed that this machine was actually bolted to a pallet. The same pallet that we were stood on trying to... Ian, thank you for all your help. I'm told it's usual that that fathers-in-law give their son-in-laws advice on marriage at this point, and I've racked my brains on this one, and I thought, oh dear me. But anyway, I mean, one thing that obviously is important is your wedding anniversary, which is about a year on from now, okay? And anyway, the only advice I can tell you on that one, Ian, is the best way to never forget your anniversary is to forget it once. Oh yes. In all seriousness, though, success in marriage is more than finding the right person. It is, in fact, about being the right person. And I'm proud to be here today celebrating the marriage of these two super people who are not only amazing in their own rights, but are also the right people for each other. Today is one of those truly unforgettable moments that I for one will never forget. And it is with great pleasure that I would now ask you all to stand, that is those of you that can still stand, and join me in a toast. And the toast, ladies and gentlemen, is a toast to sweethearts. May all sweethearts become married couples, and may all married couples remain sweethearts. Hannah and Ian.
Long and happy years.
Right, if you could all be seated again. Ian, sure. Okay, there's been a change in the programme. Because of the time has suddenly gone away with itself. Because of the heat and because of the emotion of the day, Ian's actually asked me to say a few words for him, because I have to be honest, he's been absolutely great today, and knowing Ian as I do, I'm amazed that he's got as far as he has today without cracking up. And Ian really has been very emotional in the last couple of hours, and I don't want to embarrass him anymore, but Ian's not going to say any words, but I'm sure that you'll all understand why, because we don't want to spoil his evening.
Absolutely.
I do, however, know that he wanted to say a few thank yous. The first thank yous, I think absolutely rightly, are to Nikki, my wife. Obviously for letting him marry her daughter, but also for all the effort that she's put in, particularly, and I've got to mention the flowers. I mean, if you're not aware, all the flowers that you see here this evening, all the flowers that you've seen in the church have been put together in particular by Nikki, but with the help of Wendy and with Jackie and with Bunty. I think, is Bunty here at the moment? Well, certainly Jackie I think is here. And I know Wendy's here because she's been very vocal. But anyway, thank you to you, but a particular thank you to Nikki from Ian. And he also has told me a big thank you to Chris. Chris's mum, and the big thank you to Chris is just thank you, Chris, for being mum. There is another thank you that is very important, and this is not just so much for Ian, this is from Ian and Hannah. It is to, oh dear, where is she? There she is. It's to Tam, who I think is trying to hide.
Or breastfeed.
A very big thank you. Oh, you're joking.
That would be fun, wouldn't it?
A very big thank you to Tam, because the beautiful bride's dress, the bridesmaids' dresses, Tam had such a big part in getting those right for today, and indeed making some of them. But I mean, I think you'll all agree, the bride and the bridesmaids have looked absolutely stunning and amazing. Anyway, I'm the warm-up artist. Ian, as I've said, is not going to speak, but there is someone else who I know is just itching to take the floor. Oh, I've nearly forgot, thank you Hannah. Before I pass you on to Steve, who I said is itching to take over, I should propose a toast, and the toast of course is to the bridesmaids, so please stand up ladies and gentlemen. And a toast to the bridesmaids. Thank you all for staying awake. I'll hand you over to Steve.
Hey!
Oh, Nicola.
Thank you, Julian. And Ian. Right, good afternoon or good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Of course, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Steve and I am, of course, Ian's best man. Now, to say I've been slightly nervous about standing up here and giving you this speech is a little bit of an understatement, so obviously I prepared a few lines and after snorting them earlier I feel absolutely fine. Speak to you later. Before I move on, I'd just like to thank Julian, or Ian, on behalf of the bridesmaids for basically saying some very kind words, and as I think we'll all agree, they all look absolutely fabulous, as of course does Hannah the bride. And right, talking of marvellous jobs, I think the role of the best man seemed to go quite well yesterday evening. Managed to get Ian into bed fairly nice and early, and I'm glad to tell you all that he did sleep like a baby. He wet the bed twice and woke up crying for his mummy. And of course this afternoon it also went quite well because I managed to get Ian. We got to the pub down to the church on time in all his gear, which is quite unusual because A, Ian never really goes to church, and B, he's never on time. Now, I'm sure we'll all agree that the wedding has been a fabulous affair so far, but of course for every silver lining there was a cloud, and that is basically you've got to listen to me for a few minutes, mumble on, but just remember the more you laugh, the sooner this will all be over. Quick disclaimer before I continue. Basically, if you injure yourselves at the end of my speech standing on the chairs for my standing ovation, then it's nothing to do with me. Ian and Hannah take no responsibility whatsoever. Right, of course the role of the best man, one of the roles of the best man is to deliver the best man's speech. And if I'm honest, I wanted to make this as easy as possible. So with that, I was thinking, well, where can I go? I've got a book from the library, but the main source of information, the internet, the World Wide Web. So with that, I logged on and started looking away there. After a couple of hours, I found some really good stuff. And then I thought, well, I'm actually supposed to be looking for stuff on how to write a best man's speech, really. So there we go. There was loads of ready-made speeches on there, which I did find, but unfortunately none for those for about a couple called Ian and Hannah. So it bit of a bogus, but there we go. Now, I did find out through my research that I'm supposed to basically sing the groom's praises and tell you all about his many good points. However, unfortunately, I'm not very good at singing, and I'm not going to lie. But Ian has specifically asked me to talk today about, well, what a fine fellow he is, what a great guy he is. So I've got here, he's brilliant, he's handsome, he's funny, he's caring, and he's no, can't read you right in there, Ian. However, there are other things that I found on there as well, that things that I'm not supposed to mention. For instance, the ex-girlfriends. Unfortunately, they couldn't come today, but they do send their condolences to Hannah. Now, of course, there is the stag night, as Julian did mention there, but we all know the rule of the stag means I can't really talk about that. And as Julian mentioned, there is a little song for Julian from Ian that I'm sure if you paid him enough money, he'd sing for you in the bar a bit later on. Now, well, again, unfortunately for all of us, Ian seems to have lived his life like a bit of a saint. Speaking of people, I couldn't really uncover a lot that I could mention here today. And the deeper I dug, the sweeter he seemed to smell. I literally found myself knocking my head up against a brick wall. So all I found was the usual bits and bobs, really. So searching for a story that didn't start. We were down the pub, or we were out in the cars, or we'd been drinking all day. Was a bit of a nightmare, really. Proved to be more than a little difficult. Even tried linking his birthday, 14th of December, to a big world event, but nothing really happened on that day, I'm unfortunate to say, although the staff at the maternity hospital still refer to it as Monkey Birth Monday. I've got no idea why that is, but there we go. So, instead of stories, Ian, I've decided basically to give you some marital advice. Now, I'd be the first to admit that I'm not the one for dishing out such advice, but if Gareth Gates can be a pop star, then basically I'm going myself. So, Ian, first, the most important thing maybe is you need to set the ground rules to discover who's the boss. And you must do everything that she says. Now, I know you're not too keen on football, but marriage and the beautiful game, we can draw comparisons between the two. I'd just like to run through you a couple there. You need to be fully committed every week and make sure you score at least every Saturday. You need to make sure that you change ends at half time. And never put your tackle in too hard, as you may cause yourself an injury. And remember, just diving in the box will be frowned upon. Now, don't forget, if you ever buy Hannah flowers, like you did today, she's going to know that you're guilty. And she will remember the last time that you bought her any, and she will remember why. You need to always remember the 5 rings. Got the wedding ring, the engagement ring before, there's the enduring, the torturing, the suffering. And whenever you're wrong, you just need to admit it. And whenever you're right, just be quiet and shut up. And maybe, most importantly of all, 3 words you must never forget. No, sorry, it's not that. All right, dear. Now, don't worry, Hannah, you seem to be giggling away there, but I have saved a few words of wisdom for your good self. I've got 5 key things here that you need in your man to deliver a successful marriage. So, you need a man who will treat you right and always stand by your side. A man who will shower you with gifts and compliments at every possible occasion. A man who will comfort you in times of trouble. And a man that will please you and grant your every request. But most importantly of all, each man should never know each other one's names. Of course, we're all here today to celebrate the fact that Ian and Hannah have got married for better and for worse. Ian couldn't have done any better, and Hannah, well, she couldn't have done any better. Ian, today you've married your teenage sweetheart Hannah. She's a beautiful, gorgeous, smart, loving and caring young person. I'll have that Smith. She really deserves a great husband, so think yourself lucky that she married you before she found you. Right, judging by all the story coming from the back over there, it's time for me to sign on. But Ian, all joking aside, it's been an honour, it's been a privilege to be your best man. I was made up when you asked me, and well, I couldn't wish for a better friend to be your best man for. But today, you are the best man. And apart from Hannah being quite the most stunning person in the room, she's also one of the luckiest.
Go on and sing.
May we wish Ian and Hannah well for the future and hope they enjoy a lifelong and very happy marriage together. To Ian and Hannah.
Ian and Hannah.
Let the party begin!